Well, 4 days after dropping out of the presidential race, Joe Biden finally fronted the nation and, well, his intention was to explain his decision, but it didn't quite end up like that. He mumbled and bumbled his way through a 12-minute speech.
We've come so far since my inauguration. On that day, I told you, as I stood in that winter, we stood in a winter of peril and a winter of possibilities. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, in this moment, we can see those we disagree with not as enemies, but as fellow Americans.
All right, for more on this, let's bring in the former acting United States Attorney General, Matthew Whitaker. Matthew, thank you very much for your time. Look, isn't it ironic that the Democratic National Committee has finalised a plan to nominate Kamala Harris before the convention, effectively to prevent any other contenders or any debate? The first time the Democrats have used such a process, and yet we heard Joe Biden speak about democracy over and over and over again. It was the main word he used in his speech.
Well, good to be with you, and greetings from the United States. You know, we are in a kind of silly moment in American history. It is both, not real or not serious what's happening with the Democrat Party, where they allegedly, are fighting for democracy, but have now going to run the most undemocratic nomination process ever in the history of major parties. And at the same time, we're never more insecure from the threats that the United States faces. And, you couple all that together, and I think there's a lot of sincere concern of whether or not Joe Biden is really in charge and whether he is up to doing the job. And it's sad to say, to watch that speech that he gave last night is just surreal. He's having a very hard time articulating himself, and yet, for the last many months and quite frankly, many years, the left in the United States has been telling us that, he runs circles around everybody and he's sharp as a tack.
Indeed, but in the end, that only worked against their interests, because they could have elected the best possible candidate if they'd gone through the proper process months ago. Instead, they're at this late stage, and they only have Kamala Harris, who may be the best candidate, but she hasn't been put through the ringer and been able to go through those interrogations and the debates against others. I agree with you. You got the sense that he was struggling to read that speech clearly. But what about the Republicans who are saying he should now step down as president? But, should they really be calling for that? Because that would truly give Kamala the best chance of beating Donald Trump if she were the president now.
Yeah, I think on the one hand, it would elevate her and make her have more of a spotlight. But at the same time, I think those of us that have watched her over the last really 5 or 6 years know that she has some limitations, whether that's her policies that are ultra liberal or whether that's her personality. It's hard to find anybody that actually is a fan or that likes the vice president. It is very clear to me that as the American people get to know her, they're going to have more questions than answers. And they've done a terrible time of launching her right now. She's being outspent really almost 60-1 on advertising in swing states. And,
but she's doing well on fundraising,
Trump,
though. She just raised $100 million since Sunday. I mean, that's extraordinary.
Yeah, but this is going to be $1 billion plus on both sides. Last time Republicans in 2020 were outspent $8 billion to $2 billion if you add it all up. So there's a lot of money sloshing around politics in the United States. But you're right. I mean, she'll be a powerful fundraiser, but that may not be able to make up for her personal limitations.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look at the revelations from FBI Director Christopher Wray today. And it was revealed that Thomas Matthew Crooks, that of course was the gunman who tried to kill Trump, well, he researched the JFK assassination a week before he tried to kill Trump. we now know that he typed into Google, "How far away was Oswald from Kennedy?" He was also flying a drone for 11 whole minutes. 11 minutes of a drone flying in the air around where Trump was about to speak right before the attempted assassination. What did you think of these revelations and Christopher Wray's evidence today?
Well, it was good to hear from Chris what they have learned so far. I think it was much better than the former Secret Service director who gave us no answers and really raised more questions. But at the same time, there are still too many questions. This was a massive failure. You know, we almost lost President Trump, whether by luck or some of us, like myself, believe divine providence. You know, he is alive. But there were too many single points of failure that have been revealed, and I also am concerned that a lot of what we learned is from leaks previously to Director Wray's testimony. You know, I worked with Chris Wray both in the Bush administration and in the Trump administration, and I know him to be a straight shooter. I wish he would be a little stronger leader at the FBI. But that being said, I think he did, lay out what they know and where they're going with this investigation.
His performance was definitely far more impressive than the head of the Secret Service, who obviously had to step down after her shocking performance. But no question, there needs to be a proper inquiry so we can find out how this happened. Now, just before you go, I want to ask you your view. The Secret Service has said, or they've advised Trump's campaign to stop doing outdoor rallies. Now, Trump is famous for his outdoor rallies. He loves them. His fans love them. It's kind of his trademark. What do you think about this? I mean, they're admitting effectively that they can't properly guarantee his security.
Yeah, I've been to probably more rallies than I can count, having helped him win the Iowa caucuses and having, been to so many of the outdoor rallies and the indoor rallies. And you're right. I mean, the president enjoys the outdoor rallies, but they obviously, we learned are harder to secure. But at the same time, I think you add it all up, and until the Secret Service gets their act together and until they learn these lessons that we should have learned when JFK was assassinated, I think, that it is probably correct to do a few indoor rallies. The problem is the rallies serve a couple purposes. One is to obviously get the Trump supporters in the base together. But at the same time, I think the other thing that it does is it shows force, and it shows a strength of the campaign and the grassroots that Donald Trump only can bring.
All right. Matt Whitaker, really appreciate your time this evening or early morning for you. Thank you so much. And Matt, of course, former acting Attorney General in the United States.